Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's Pantheon Podcast, the show where we talk about Smite, esports, and everything related to it. My name is Darkkai3, your host of the Pantheon Podcast, and with me, as per usual, I'm sure you want to know by now, the one, the only, AlphaJackal. How you doing, sir?
I am doing fantastic. Got some good things to talk about today. The new patch coming in on Tuesday, patch 4.3, the Valley of Victory. As well as our Week 3 SPL predictions, and finishing it off with some drama.
We always have drama.
It's not Smite.
It's not a Smite week without drama.
Exactly.
Yeah, you've got to have drama. Alright then, so let's get straight into it. Straight into patch 4.3. We've got a few things. We've got a few new god skins. There's no new god this week, so you don't have to worry about learning a new god. But we do have some pretty nice skins, and we also have a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yep.
Yeah, we do.
That's going to be the final boss Thanatos skin.
Yeah. Looks cool.
It looks fantastic, but why don't you tell us why this is going to be a lawsuit?
Right. Square Enix do not like people using their stuff. And this is so obviously Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII, except he's got two wings instead of one. So whether that's different enough, and he's using a scythe instead of a katana. So I'm guessing it's probably different enough for it to not get a lawsuit on it. But I wouldn't hold your breath, because Square Enix are dicks.
Yeah, before people out there go, oh, but they're releasing it, so that means it's gone through all this clearance. Remember, they released Spec Ops Bastet as Catwoman, and it got taken out.
Didn't they literally call it Catwoman Bastet?
I didn't call it Cat Burglar or something.
Okay, but it was very obviously Catwoman.
Yeah.
And they had to remove that, and we ended up with what became Spec Ops Bastet. So it's not it wouldn't be the first time it's happened, but I'm hoping they don't, because it is a really nice skin.
Yeah.
Of course, to carry on, you do have to rave. Get your glow sticks ready, because we've got Heaven's Rave Zeus. It's
finally here. It's one of the most requested community skins out there, along with Chef Vulcan. I know Pizza Delivery Shabalonke is also up there as a highly requested skin. But they've finally done this one, and it's absolutely fantastic.
It looks so good.
Have you actually played with it?
Huh?
Have you actually played with it?
No, I haven't been on PTS yet.
Oh.
Is it that good?
The effects that they've done on this in both the sound and visuals, it's unreal.
Isn't his 2 a little bit too loud?
A tiny bit, but the fact that it actually has a beat to it is absolutely amazing.
That's cool. I mean, just watching it on the patch notes where they had the equalizer effect and everything, just looks so cool. As well, his ult, with the whole rave, what's it called? It's like the scaffold
lighting
stuff,
rig.
isn't it? Yeah. Oh, it looks so good. I'm looking forward to playing with this skin.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Yeah. And of course, we have the Valley of Victory, and in there is Nike, and she's going to be looking in her brand new skin, Conqueror Nike. It's not a tier 2 skin; it's a tier 3 skin, but you would be thinking of it thinking that it was a tier 2. It's quite good. It gives her a bit of extra armor. It gives her a bit of new hair as well.
And she's got some wing armor as well now. That looks really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the skin looks really cool.
It's a very good skin, but it doesn't really add so much that's different like some other skins which you've seen.
Mind you, it's the sort of thing you'd expect. You think she would wear something like that if she's going out to conquer someone. Yeah. So she's got that. It looks really cool.
I just imagine Tormentula Arachne for this.
Ah, yeah, I know what you mean with Tormentula. Is Tormentula just a recolor? Or was it?
No, Tormentula Arachne was the one that was in the Last Odyssey.
Oh, that. Well, yeah, I know what it is. Yeah, it is basically just a recolor, isn't it? With a slightly different hairstyle.
And it's got its own custom voice pack.
Okay, so
Conqueror Knight's going to be pretty much the same deal.
Yeah. But following on from that, for the Conqueror Knight, we do have the Valley of Victory, as AJ said. And with that, 2 skins are going to be available there. I think you only get to choose 1, though, don't you? Which is the awkward part. However, we have Swashbuckler Susano. You know, just looking like the pirate, that adding to the pirate skins that we've already got in the game. And it's also going to have Guan Unicorn.
And I know which one I'm choosing.
I'm choosing Swashbuckler Susano.
How dare you?
No, I'm choosing it just because how can they bring out Guan Unicorn before Huan Yu? Come on. We've been wanting Huan Yu for ages. Him wearing a sombrero, riding a burro, you know.
And if he rides a bull on that skin, I'll go for it.
What, why it's a bull instead of a burro?
Like an actual bull with horns.
Oh, an actual bull. Okay, we can go with that. Okay, I'll meet you halfway with that. As long as he's wearing a sombrero, I'm happy. Yeah, he's got to wear a sombrero.
Okay, done.
Yeah, there you go. There we go. We've decided on how Guan Yu is going to be done. Hi-Rez.
Yeah. But Guan Unicorn Guan Yu. I was just lying on the floor laughing when they showed this again.
Does it poop rainbows?
The horse does, yes.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
He actually says when he holds, "Look at my horse is amazing."
Oh no, we're using ancient memes.
Yeah. Well, they brought out Doge Scardy.
Yeah, but this was before Doge.
How far are we going to go back?
Can we go back to the beginning? At some point, we're going to have the firing Malazor come in.
No, we're going to go even further back to the very first use of the meme. Which was from Jurassic Park with the screensaver. I didn't say the magic word.
Oh no, we don't want to go that far.
Word.
Let's not go that far back. There has to be a limit on how old memes can be.
Well, I mean, maybe.
Yeah, but I don't know. The new Guan Yu skin is pretty cool, but Susano with the map on his chest and the whole looking like what's his face from Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as they've got a Jack Sparrow style voice back with him, I reckon that'd be good. You know.
Yeah.
Where have them gone? But yeah, so those are the skins. So we have 5 skins: Heaven's Wave Zeus, Thanatos, Thanatos, Conqueror Nike, Swashbuckler Susano, and Guan Unicorn Guan Yu. We do have a couple other changes. We have Zeus Mastery skins and Guan Yu Mastery skins just going into the standardized scheme now with actual skin and stuff going through. So we won't just have a gold block, which will be Zeus. And Guan Yu's card art actually just looks mean in that card art.
His eyes looks like he wants to give you forgiveness, but the rest of his body goes, "I will kill you immediately."
And Zeus is just ready to rave, as we all know. He's ready to rave.
Yeah,
there will be some new emotes as well. We have a Terror Dance emote, but there will also be a custom emote for Heaven's Wave Zeus, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he does have one of those special effect emotes, like the Kumbhakana. I can't remember the skin name, but it's the Warlord's Kumbhakana skin, and
there's a Round the World Geb where he turns into the Earth,
and the Medusa skin also has one of these.
But it's not Medusa. I still can't get over that. It's Sea Maiden Medusa, like Medusa.
Yeah,
Hi-Rez just miss out on so many chances to make puns.
See, this is why Guan Yu will never come out,
because they don't know puns. But we've got a Guan Unicorn, which they didn't call Guan Unicorn. Seriously, Hi-Rez? Seriously? You're just throwing these things out there and not caring about the possibility of some amazing puns. You know.
Well, I don't know where you're going with pans.
I don't know where I got pans from, but
I honestly don't know, and I can't transition that into the Valley of Victory, which is going to be the first adventure.
Bang your pots and pans together as your war drums.
No, I was gonna go into this different tangent about metal and the battlefield instead, but
you could do that.
Knight's Valley of Victory is going to be the first adventure. It's a brand new sort of queue. It's going to be available for a limited time, 4 weeks in fact, and then they're going to have a 2-week break and then bringing out the next one.
Okay.
The first one is going to be Capture the Flag. So if you ever fancy playing Capture the Flag in Smite, now you can. There are a couple stipulations though. 1, you can't heal in a fountain at all. 2, you get full build instantly pretty much. 3, you aren't allowed to buy relics. And 4, you can only use 5 gods.
Yeah, the 5 gods that you have available for you in this are Hercules, Ymir, Anubis, Artemis, and the dirtiest god of all, Loki. I hate Loki. I mean, but it's quite a good mix there. It's quite a good mix, but I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if another god other than Anubis probably would have been good. But you know that whoever's going to be coming into your base to get your flag is either going to be the Hercules or the Loki. It's one of those two.
Well, I see it being the Ymir or the Hercules because they can actually be tanky and sustain themselves through getting the flag. Whilst if you're Loki, you go in there invis, okay, but the second you pick up the flag, you're revealed, and then boom, you're killed.
Can you not go invis with Loki when you've got a flag?
No, once you pick up the flag, you lose all your abilities and you get 2 flag abilities. The first one is like a short dash forward, almost a teleport like dash, and the second one you throw the flag. But you can't pick up the flag if you've thrown it for about 5 seconds.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so don't go as Loki because you will die. You are so squishy. Loki without his invis is just bleh. He's not. You're not gonna use Loki for that in that case. But Hercules and Amir pretty good, and then you've got the Anubis and Artemis. Artemis is just great at setting up a trap at the base.
Yeah, you just put your 3 traps down on your own flag, and then there's nothing they can do.
No, because they can't even use a relic to escape.
The thing is, you'd have to probably get Magi's Blessing in this game mode if you want to capture the flag.
Can you get? Okay, I'm assuming because if they've blocked relics and stuff like that, surely they'd block certain items from being used.
I haven't played the game mode yet, but there's a potential for it, so I can see them doing so.
Okay, well, there you go. Actually, Gem of Iso may be quite good against... not Gem of Iso. Gem of Iso on the Anubis, but you've also got Winged Wand for everyone else. Just step on the Anubis ability and just run out really fast.
Yeah. You do move slower when you are carrying the flag, by the way.
Does movement speed affect it, though? So say you went and built Heartseeker, Stone-Cutting Sword, and stuff like that. Like, if you built really speedy items, would your being slower from holding the flag slow by a percentage of your speed, or slow down to a base speed?
I think it slows it down to a set value.
Okay, so building speed won't really help then in that case.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my thought.
Yeah. If we're wrong, please do let us know, because this could have some very interesting interactions if you can build stuff like that and go faster than the other person carrying the flag. So
yeah,
bear that in mind. There are some things coming out with that. We have said the 2 skins that are coming out with the Valley of Victory, Swashbuckler, Susano, and Iguana Unicorn. But with those, being able to get those, you have to actually open a golden door.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So to get access to the golden door, you need a golden key, and to get access to the golden key, you need to purchase the Victory Bundle. Whether you'll be able to unlock them in a certain way, we're not sure. But you can get them in the Victory Bundle, which consists of 15 Team Worship boosters, if you've already used all of yours up, music theme, banner plant, global emote, Conqueror Nike, so that's how you get your Nike skin, and the 1 gold key.
And if I remember correctly, there's also a global emote that you can get from these adventures, which will start to build up to more effect as you complete certain tasks in the adventures. So with the banner plant global emote, you can it'll have this base effect, but as you complete certain tasks during the game mode, it can get more and more flamboyant.
Ooh. Are we going to have, like, you know that shot from the World War II flag plant?
Oh.
There those guys at the top of that.
Yeah.
Top of that hill with the flag down, all of them pushing.
I don't think we will.
No?
No.
I reckon it'd be so cool to see something like that.
It would be cool, but I honestly don't think they'll implement that.
That's a shame. It'd be cool though.
It would be.
It would be. But yes, that is the Valley of Victory, Nike's Valley of Victory.
Yeah.
If you want to call it that. But...
That's the new game mode coming into Smite in this next patch, and be lasting for 4 weeks, i.e. 4.3 and 4.4. 4.5, it will be taken out, and then 4.6, a new one will come out.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
Oh, could we see the return of domination? Please. Please, Hi-Rez. Hi-Rez, do this.
I do know what one of them is going to be.
Oh yeah? Do you wanna spread the word?
I'll tell you after the podcast goes.
You're not gonna start a rumor on the show?
No.
Okay. Well, there you go. AJ, not allowed to start rumors on the show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We only report truth here, which is why I'm going to be telling you in confidence what it could potentially be.
What it could potentially be. Okay. So that is the new game mode. AJ not telling us what the next one's going to be. We do have some new god achievements for Kuzambo, the newest god in the game. If you have played him, he is pretty damn fun. I like him. AJ doesn't think he's that viable. I think he's fucking amazing. But he has got 2 new achievements. The triple treble as Kuzambo and knock up an enemy god 3 times in a single use of your War Tree Gave ability. This may become a bit more difficult with this patch. We'll discuss that when we get to the god changes. And the other achievement is Shell Reflect. As Kuzembo, reflect back 280 damage in a single use of your Spiked Shell ability. So, Standard of Poseidon Whirlpool, press 2. There you go.
Yeah, pretty much. Simple, basic god achievements to earn there for Kuzembo.
You can probably get both of those in one game.
Yeah, if you play him aggressively enough, you'll get those easily.
Yeah. So.
Miscellaneous, and this one is very, very good for the game in my eyes.
I'm so glad this is good. It's a shame. Actually, no,
It is.
no, it's not a shame. It's good because they changed Crusher to stop being such a bullshit item, and they've now made it so that you can't bullshit to victory. You know? Yeah, if you're Bastet, screw you. So, yeah.
What's happened now is in 4.3, Tower's backdoor protections are no longer removed by god pets.
Yes.
So if you're Nuar, Bastet, Vulcan, Bakasura, you will not be able to remove those backdoor protections anymore.
Nope.
Like Kuzumbo won't be able to do it either.
No, he won't. Arachne, I don't know. Arachne's a weird one.
Arachnes are a weird one. But, like, she didn't use it as, like, it's sort of like
She wouldn't be able to split push because of those minions.
Yeah, she wouldn't.
Yeah.
She wasn't split pushing because of those. But whilst gods like Nuwa, Bastet, Bakasura were able to split push because of the fact that they had pets in their kit that they could deploy at a given time and place.
Yeah, I mean, I think removing the backdoor protections is only a good thing.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating because there's 4 versus 5 on one side of the map, and then you've got a Bastet on the enemy team who presses 4 and takes a tower before you can even react. So I think removing those backdoor protections, I think it's going to make it a little bit more tactical. The downside is with that, it may make things a bit more snowbally than they already are. Because you're going to have to fight, and if you're really far behind, you're not going to want to fight even under your own tower, because you've already been stomped into the ground and they won't care at that point.
Yeah.
So, but with this, we are going to be changing a few of the gods. So they're going to buff them and keep an eye on them as they're needed. We will get onto that in a moment when we get to the god changes. But for now, we have some item changes. They're not really that big in the grand scheme, apart from, well, I say that. The starter items are a bit of a change, and they're good changes in my opinion. But all of the aura items essentially now have had their stuff changed to say, now only applies to gods, but this doesn't apply to Mystical Mail or Emperor's Armor.
Well, yeah, because the whole point of Mystical Mail was to give you extra lane pressure and extra damage onto the enemy god.
Yeah. And
Emperor's Armor, the whole point of it is it affects towers.
Yeah, so those 2 items not going to be affected, but this will affect Heartward Amulet, Pestilence, Pythagorean's Peace, Sovereignty, Voidstone, Void Shield, Wardstone, and that is that. I was about to say Hand for Gods, but that isn't affected by an aura.
Yeah, that's the next thing that's going to get changed. It's just a tooltip update to say that there's no damage to jungle bosses, or it's got rid of it.
Yeah, it said it didn't do damage to jungle bosses. Now it clearly doesn't say that it doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It now does damage. It says it does damage to jungle bosses now.
It does damage to jungle bosses. There you go. That's what it is. Next up, we're going to see some changes to some rituals. Rituals are frustrating, but they're not changing the ones which are the most frustrating.
No, they are.
Well, I don't know. The one that's most frustrating to me is that damn combat blink.
Combat blink still needs to be changed, yes, but these are the 2 which were most commonly used at a competitive level, and were the ones that were creating the most frustration and the most potential to take a game which teams shouldn't have been able to take.
Yeah.
I believe we saw it in the North American SPL. I can't remember which team it was, but one team was for 5 full rallying rituals.
Yep.
And TB the enemy base and just backdoored on 1.
Yeah. I mean, that is a frustrating thing. The 2 rituals that are being changed at this point in time are Frenzied and Rallying rituals. You know, you see them in almost every damn game. They're very potent at this current point in time, especially Rallying ritual, as you said. And they are addressing what they feel is the issue of Rallying ritual, and I do like these changes. I don't think it's going to be picked up as often now for those backdoor strats, but it can still be picked up, but it's going to take a bit more setup to get what you want to get going. So Frenzied Ritual's change has had its duration change from 10 seconds down to 5 seconds. The amount of damage that you were doing in those 10 seconds was obscene. Lowering that down to 5 seconds mitigates that fairly nicely. And then the Rallying Ritual changes. Rallying Ritual can no longer be used on someone that is already being teleported to. And Rallying Ritual can no longer be used on someone that is currently teleporting.
So, no able to just mass dropship. If you want to do that, you're going to have to pick up a Yanis.
Yes, you are. Or put down a ward and hope your team has teleport.
Yeah, just start off the game with 5 teleports and doesn't look suspicious at all.
That is your strat. Totally not your strat. But yeah, those are the 2 changes. I'm hoping they'll do some looking at the... What is Combat Blink called now?
It's Flickering Ritual.
Flickering Ritual. That is still frustrating to deal with. So we're going to be... Hopefully we're going to be looking at that one in the near future. And the other ritual, no one really uses, do they?
No.
I can't even remember. I've never seen it.
Oh, it's a Revealing Ritual.
That's the one. So no one really uses that.
I mean, that was the one that everybody was on board for. That was the one everybody was excited and happy to see.
Yeah.
Because, oh wow, they've actually given a use to Scout. It was suggested on the Reddit like 6 months before Season 4. And it's just not been used at all.
No.
Because most of the time when you get to the end game, everyone's grouped up as a 5, and if you see one person on the enemy, you can basically say, oh, all 4 of the other people are somewhere nearby as well.
Yeah. So, do you reckon they're going to buff Revealing Ritual? Do something with it?
I think they might give it a very tiny buff by increasing the radius of the ward vision it gives you. But outside of that, I don't think they can buff it without making it obnoxiously overpowered.
That's the thing with some items, and some items in Gods, isn't it? If you change them a little bit, it pushes them from underpowered to stupidly OP.
Yeah.
So
and this is what they're waiting to see with our Wash. Because he's been receiving very, very, very minor buffs because of the fact he's so potent in game modes like Assault, in game modes like Siege, and Joust. But in Conquest, he really struggles.
I've been seeing him a fair amount in Conquest recently.
If that's ranked, it's because people just play stuff in ranked. They don't care what the meta is.
Actually, speaking of ranked, I finally placed.
Hey.
I'm now plat 4.
Nice.
5 and 5. Because the last game we played, we had a Guan who had no idea what he was doing in solo lane. He died like 8 times in 13 minutes. We had a Medusa who was like bad mouthing our support like crazy, and we had an Odin support who was never in lane. So it was me in jungle as Thanatos having to deal with an Arachne 3 levels ahead of me because she was eating everyone alive, and we had Blur in mid lane on Poseidon just against a Scylla who was getting to late game really quickly because of the Arachne being so fat. It was ridiculous. Actually ridiculous. But anyway, speaking of jungles, we got Bumba's Mask as the next item change. So a lot of people were having problems with Bumba's Mask, and you were seeing mid laners pick it up as well, which kind of defies the point of Bumba's Mask for the junglers. And it was really awkward for the junglers because they had to last hit everything, and no one has ever given them those last hits. So, to mitigate that, Bumba's Mask no longer requires the last hitting of jungle monsters to receive the passive benefit. So it's essentially old Bumba's Mask.
Yeah, well, technically, because the jungler is going to be the one that's closest to the buff most of the time.
You hope.
Yeah. So, there we go. Good change to Bumba's. You're still going to see it picked up on mid laners, I'd say, but it's no longer frustrating.
We should probably say what the second change is.
Oh, yeah. The second change. So, you no longer have to be the one getting the last hit. You just have to be the one that is closest to the buff when it dies to get the bonus health, mana, and gold.
Yeah. So as long as your solo laner isn't right next to it when you want to take the buff, you should be okay.
Well, it's the person who's closest with Bumbas. So if you're a mage that's 35 units away and your solo lane is helping you take the buff and he doesn't have Bumbas, you still get the benefit.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, that's good. That's good. As long as no one in mid buys Bumbas, then we're fine. We're good. We're fine. Okay, so that's that. Then we have Sands of Time. Actually, this is an interesting one considering how often people build Sands of Time in the mid lane.
It is the best starter item right now.
I'm trying to figure out why they've buffed it.
I mean, what they're doing. We're gonna go through these changes to Sand of Time, Soulstone, and Vamp Shroud first, so I can give you like sort of my reasoning behind this. So, Sands of Time, the MP5 per stack has been increased from 1.5 to 2. Soulstone now heals 40 mana when consuming 5 stacks, and Vamp Shroud has increased the mana restored from 5 to 8 per enemy killed. The idea about this is because in the early game, mages need mana. They need mana regeneration, and the only one that was giving enough of it was Sands of Time, which is why we saw it being picked up a lot. And what they've done by changing Soulstone and Vamp Shroud is give it some mana regeneration abilities or increase them to put them more in line with Sands of Time, so they sometimes seem as an attractive option for other gods. But then the issue is they then buff Sands of Time to keep it as the mana regeneration item, which I've just stated, which is what mages need in the early game. So obviously they're still going to pick up Sands of Time.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to figure out why they're buffing it. If it's the most picked up item, surely you leave it like it is and buff the others. But not increase it so that it's more potent. I mean, it gives you MP5 while the others give you flat mana restore. But I don't know. No, I'm trying to think of what god you would ever bother not building Sands of Time on.
Probably like this. Vamp Shroud, it gives you 8 per enemy killed, and in a wave there are 6 enemies, so you're getting 48 mana there.
Yep.
Soulstone heals 40 mana when consuming 5 stacks.
Yep.
Sands of Time, you get 2 MP5 extra.
Yep.
Which, over the course of, say, 30 seconds, you'll get 5 MP. You get 6 of the MP5, so that's 12 mana back per wave.
Yeah.
Extra.
Okay.
So right now, it doesn't give you the most mana back.
Okay.
But what it does do is it means you don't have to use abilities to get that mana regeneration.
Ah, right, I got you now. Yeah, that makes sense. So Sands of Time is still something you would pick up anyway.
It's a very strange item because it's sort of contradictory to itself. You want to stay low mana to get the most benefit out of it, but at the same time it gives you more mana to then cast more abilities, which you then have on a lower cooldown because of the 10% CDR.
Yeah. I mean, Sands of Time is still really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still I'm looking at the stats for the others now, and Sands of Time, especially for a mid lane mage, is just better. You get 20 magical power, you get 5 MP5, plus the 2 MP5 per 10% of your missing mana, and 10% cooldown reduction. That's like everything you want as a mid laner.
Exactly.
You want to be able to put if you're Poseidon, you want to be able to put your Whirlpool down more often and get more health, more mana regen back. As Scylla, you want to be able to put your Crush down more often and get more MP5 back. I think there's only a few gods where you wouldn't build Sands of Time, and I think one of them is Freya, where you probably you could build Soulstone again now. But I'm not sure if you feel the same way about Freya picking up Soulstone, but you know what I mean. I mean, I think Soulstone's good for certain gods now that they get their mana back, but Sands of Time is just still better in every other situation.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Sands of Time still good. Sands of Time still one of the best starter items in the game.
Now, there's one more item change before we go into the god changes, and that item is Shield of Regrowth.
You mean the item that's built on almost every god with a self heal.
Yeah, you may have seen this item every now and then. It's okay, I guess.
It's okay. It's only it's not that good on, I don't know, Chuck, Thanatos,
Amaterasu, pretty much everyone.
I actually did not realise that it worked on Amaterasu.
It should do because it's a return of hate. It's a health heal.
Yeah. Because it apparently actually works just because of her passive.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part. She has almost a permanent effect. Well, I say permanent, you know what I mean. But...
So, the changes to Shield of Regrowth, its movement speed, its cooldown, and I think it also gives a slight bit of mana are staying the same, but its cost is going to go up to 2100, up from 2,000, and it's got to have its health reduced by 100 all the way down to 200. Still going to get picked up because of the fact that it gives 10% CDR and 40% movement speed on its passive.
Oh yeah, I mean, certain gods are still like okay. Let's put it this way, right? I was playing Thanatos in jungle a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah.
Now Thanatos is like if you hit your 1, and a lot of good Thanatoses can on almost every attack, you've got your movement speed. Do you know how fast you can make Thanatos go?
You can. I know that at some point you can actually get him up to just shy of 800 MS.
You can get him up to 800, but in terms of like, I built Heartseeker and I built Stonecutting Sword on him, right? And then I had Shield of Regrowth, and I activated my 2. I was running around at like 620 movement speed. It was ridiculous. It was actually ridiculous. I don't think there's any reason to not build Shield of Regrowth on Thanatos, especially. Like, you're still going to pick it up. A little bit less health, a little bit more expensive. It's still a really good item.
Yeah.
So
changes weren't exactly what was needed.
No.
They may look at actually changing the way it needs to be changed in a couple of patches' time.
Yeah.
Remains to be seen. But we're moving on to god changes, and the first one is one I do not like already. First one is for Bastet, and before we mention the fact that they have stopped pets removing backdoor protections, and you're going to see changes to Bastet and Noir to compensate for this. But this one is not what Bastet needed. Open wounds, i.e. a passive that increased damage from 15% to 20%. It's not what she needed at all. She didn't need more damage. She does enough damage already.
Yeah.
Especially with the nerfs to sprint, the one true counter to Bastet.
Yeah.
She's in a good place already in terms of the damage and ability to kill somebody else.
Her cats are just obnoxious now, even with the new sprint. Like, the cats hit you, you go sprint, and while you're still activating it, they hit you again and you're slowed.
Exactly.
Like, the cats are ridiculous with the stat. She does tons of damage.
She doesn't need the extra damage.
She doesn't.
If anything, and Flairboot even suggested this, and I think it was a fantastic idea, the changes should have been mana cost reductions.
Yeah. She's quite mana hungry, isn't she? Yeah.
Bastet's quite a bit mana hungry. You do see a lot of... used to see a lot of Bastets.
You do saw a lot of.
Yeah. English hard, okay?
English hard.
Yeah.
Sorry
for my bet, England. So you used to see a lot of Bastets who were going to split push build Transcendence.
Yeah.
And it alleviated the mana concerns there. So reducing mana cost would have definitely been the change I would like to see, or just a shift in base stats a bit more positively. It's an army.
Oh, I thought you were going to carry on with the stat. Sorry, it sounds like you were. The way you ended the sentence sounded like you were going to carry on. So it's an army change. They're trying to make her less of the dominating force that she currently is. Like in almost every ranked game, you'll see as an army. You won't see her as much in ranked at the moment, not ranked in SPL at the moment, which is interesting. But in general, she does so much damage to the minion wave, she can really clear it just using basics. So to mitigate that, they are lowering her base damage down from 40 to 36. It's not a bad change.
Doesn't alleviate the concerns again.
No, but it's a start.
It's a start. We say that a lot for Hi-Rez, but then they never act upon it.
No, they start it off and then just go, it's finished. So, but yes, they're lowering her base damage a little bit, trying to make it so it's a bit harder for her to clear wave. She can still clear wave really easily.
So now we move on to Kuzumbo, the latest god in Smite. He's been performing okay. They're just shifting over a couple of things to try and better in terms of what he is defined as in his role as sort of like this backline disruptive guardian.
I think I think what they've done with this is he does seem like a bit more of a bruiser.
I think he's meant to be the quintessential solo lane guardian.
Yeah, that's what he looks like. And from this, he looks like what you'd expect in solo lane.
Okay, so to go over the changes, because there's one for each single one of his abilities, and there's a general thing as well. The general is just fix these.
His Nene isn't changed.
Oh, his Nene isn't changed. Ooh.
No. Nene Kappa is still the same.
I'm surprised it didn't give it something or just buff it, because the Kappa itself isn't that great.
I don't know, but some of the changes they're doing to him are going to be pretty good for him.
Yeah, okay, so general fixed progression on the stats page showing as undefined. You'll now see the progression as it was. Water Bolt, his passive, fix the description error to properly convey the damage mitigation this passive provides. It's meant to be for every 2% of his max HP he loses pre-mitigation, he gains 1% of true damage mitigation. Instead of, I think it was the 1% HP gone for 2% mitigation that was showing on the stats.
Yeah.
Shell Spikes can now be activated while Kuzubo is under the effects of CC, so if you're knocked up by Bacchus Belly Flop, you can then activate it before he intoxicates you.
It's a great change.
Watery Grave, his ultimate. This is a big change.
It is huge.
Reduced duration from 2.8 seconds to 2.1 seconds, one less maximum knockup. Increase the first hit damage from 60 scaling to 220. It is now 80 scaling to 280. And increased per tick damage 30 to 110 scaling is now 40 to 140 scaling. So again, it's keeping that half of the first hit damage that it was before. The movement speed has been increased to 45%. And there's fixed the issue where Kusumo could be knocked up during the warm-up for disability.
I've been hit by that bug a few times.
Yeah.
You know, you're in a situation where you're like, oh no, I need to get out. Knocked up, I'm spinning, but nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The movement speed buff is the one that I find the most interesting here.
That is interesting. I mean, before, for 35%, it wasn't quite able to get you into that position where you needed to be. And now, because his ult duration is lower, increasing his speed just tries to help him cover a similar amount of distance.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, so I think lowering it from 2.8 to 2.1, but increasing the speed from 35 to 45, he's still going to have the issue that he can't quite get... Like, if you're trying to engage with this, you're not quite getting where you want to go, but it is keeping about the same distance travelled. And he's doing is he doing the same amount of damage in general? Pretty close. Pretty close, yeah. It looks like he's actually doing about the same amount of damage he was before. So, if anything, it's from lowering the amount of time you're knocked up. Because each time you get knocked up, you hit the ground, you get knocked up, you hit the ground, you get knocked up. Like, the way it's done is so it doesn't have any DR. And I think it was just getting annoying to get the timings from being knocked up and hitting the ground. So
I think a change that I wanted to see, and this would have been amazing if they actually implemented it, is if you activate Watery Grave whilst your Nene Cap is out, it also does a Watery Grave.
Squirtle, use Hydro Pump.
Pretty much.
Yeah, man.
Or how's this? Before you go diving into your shell for your ult, you do a leap forward, like a small leap forward, so you can actually get into a position to then knock people back towards your team.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I like that idea. Would that make him too strong, though?
No, because outside of his ult, he doesn't really do much.
I don't know. He's pretty good at displacing.
Yeah, displacing a single target, but...
Yeah. I mean, that's in solo lane especially, that's really good.
It's solo lane, yeah. But when it gets to the teamfight stage, it does... The shell spikes themselves don't really reflect enough damage to make them a threat to the ADC.
I don't know. I think I want to see something more on shell spikes. I'm okay with everything else being kept as is, but I feel that shell spikes is the ability which needs something to make it feel more useful, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because as it stands, shell spikes don't. They reflect before mitigations, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but I'd like to see the shell spikes do something to help with mitigations. Because shell spikes means you can still get living crap kicked out of you while using it. You just give some of it back to them. So I just want to see something like, I don't know, something similar to mitigate wounds, where you get some protections or something, some flat damage reduction, something like that, something which makes it more rewarding for you to use shell spikes and go in.
Yeah. I was legitimately about to say something like mitigate wounds because Hercules would be a better option if you wanted to just tank damage. And
yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Kusanbo picked up for things, but I still think at the moment he feels he'll be okay in solo lane, but there are still plenty of other options in solo lane that are superior to him.
Yeah.
Same with support. There are plenty of other options which are better than him as support. So I don't think we're going to be seeing him picked up very much.
No.
No.
On to Noir. As I said before, she is going to be receiving some changes because of the fact that her minions no longer remove backdoor protections. Shining Metal is going to be getting the one change to Noir this patch. Increase the magic power scaling from 50% to 65%. Decrease the minion explode magic power scaling from 30% to 25%. Overall a buff. But if you do hit all 3 minions explosions, you are just getting the exact same amount now.
Yeah. So I don't know. She's still pretty good. She's
good. It just means that you no longer have to have the minions to get the huge damage that you were doing before.
Yeah. So it's just to make it so that you can't use the minions for as much as you. Well, the minions were just great at backdooring, but because she's a mage, she didn't really get much use out of it. So I don't know. I think we're going to see her a bit more often. Possibly.
I'm not looking forward to this next God's changes.
Oh no, the Broken God.
Yeah.
Yep. Osiris. He is seeing some love because Osiris used to be the lane bully, didn't he? It was basically win lane, lose game. He was the quintessential definition for this. So he's having a couple changes to make him that a little bit, I don't know, more robust. So his Sickle Strike is being upped in damage in general. It was 60 to 220 with 30% in physical power. Now it's 60 going to 240 with 40% in physical power. So he's going to be doing a bit more damage there. And Spirit Fail, it says on their... Hi-Rez, please. Spirit Flail, not Spirit Fail. Change damage from 80 to 280 with 50% of your physical power to 70 to 290. So there's a little bit of a nerf to his early. No, it's not really a nerf to his early game when you hear this. Plus 75% of his physical power. Oh god, he is scary.
Why did they buff his damage on his abilities?
He didn't scale well from building physical damage. Like
that's because his job was to build tanky, then build Keens, then kill everybody because Keen size.
Well, yeah, he's a basic attack god. The thing is, he wasn't getting picked up, was he?
No,
and that's because he kind of lost his role when a load of things changed.
But I don't think this is the way they should have done it.
I don't know.
Changing his passive so he mitigates a tiny bit more damage is the way I would have gone.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because he is meant to be in your face, basically unkillable, but not really meant to be killing you himself.
Yeah.
Unless he gets kin size.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting we don't see him nowadays, because you know how healing has been changed into like a combat thing rather than out of combat? I would have expected Osiris to be picked up a little bit more just because his ultimate was pretty good at, like, they've put a heal down, jump in! No one's healing! Fight me! But you don't see him. You don't see him with that anymore. And I think they're trying to make it so that he's a more viable pick. So they increase the amount of damage his Sickle Strike and Spirit Flail do. But I don't know, he's going to be scary to lane against. I think that much.
Well, no, they haven't really increased his laning potential here with the Sickle Strike and Spirit Flail changes. Because the base damage, it does 10 more for his Spirit Flail at the max rank. Like, that's nothing.
It's the physical power scaling, isn't it? But even
scaling.
But even then, you're not building physical damage on him.
Like, you get power boots, and that's going to give you... Well, it's going to give you 25% of extra of 40. Which means overall you're increasing it by... If I can actually... Math. Well, I can't in the morning.
You can in the morning. Which is when we're recording this.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we're going to see him No.
Still. Like overall, Spirit Flail is going to be receiving 20 damage extra with just boots.
Yeah. It's not really enough. Like, it would be nice. It'd be interesting to see Osiris come back in. And he will hurt with this. But you're not going to see him. If you've got Nike on the table, Hercules, like Amaterasu, there are so many other gods which will do solo laning better, and you just can't use Osiris as a support. He's one of the many warriors you cannot use in support well. So
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see him very much.
No. We have a few more god changes to go through. This next one, everyone's been calling out for it, and it is Ratatasker. Finally seeing some changes. Good changes overall, I feel. It puts him in a balanced spot now.
Yeah.
Those changes are Acorn of Yggdrasil, i.e. his passive replacement for boots. Increase the cost of Acorn of Swiftness from 500 to 700. Acorn of Yggdrasil remains at 1600, so it just becomes a little bit harder to itemize into that tier 2 in the early game, but tier 3 still remains the exact same timing. Dart, decreased cooldown reduction for Flurry and Acorn Blast from 2 seconds to 1 second per god hit, and through the cost plus reduce the landing radius from 25 to 20. Good changes all around.
I like him. Because the Acorn of Yggdrasil, being able to... You could get Bumba's Acorn of Swiftness, and then you had still 500 gold to spend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was crazy. Although I still start off with Bumba's and Bluestone, because Bumba's and Bluestone. Like, what the hell? Yeah. But, I mean, also, lowering the stuff on Dart, it just lowers his mobility, and that's his big problem. His big issue is he'll go in... 3, 2, dart out. Like,
pretty
it's
much
crazy how mobile Ratatasker is, and that's the reason why he's a top pick at the moment. Lowering that mobility and making Through the Cosmos not do as much in terms of radius is also a good change. I like him. Good changes all around. I still think we're going to see him. He's still a really strong pickup. I just don't think we're going to see him as much as other... Or, no, we're going to see him a lot, but we're going to see other junglers appear more often.
Yeah, that's what the changes aim to do, and that's what they're going to do. Sol, the next change. He had a Fatalis removed from her at the beginning of Season 4, and they've been keeping a close eye on Sol ever since. And now they decided the best way to change Sol was to increase damage and healing.
Yeah. That's all I can say. Yeah. It felt weird pressing 3 and not having a Fatalis effect, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But take us through it, AJ.
Okay, Radiance fixed an issue where this wasn't proccing on-heal effects. So stuff like Shield of Regrowth or...
People were building Shield of Regrowth on Sol.
No, because they knew it didn't affect it, but now they can.
Why would you?
Just because then he can Radiance and then just chase somebody down. Because 40% extra movement speed. 40% extra movement speed.
Fair point. Yeah.
Decrease the cooldown from 15 seconds to 13 seconds, so now you can chase people down even faster. But this is the big one here.
Oh, no.
Change the healing from 5, 10, 15, 20, 25% of missing health to 25% of missing health at all ranks. Ooh.
My god.
Ooh.
That's scary.
She is going to be ridiculously hard to kill early game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to see who wins in a Sol versus Freya fight in lane.
Still Freya.
Oh, yeah. But I just want to see it. Just annoy the Freya.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
No?
It's literally just Freya going Pulse Radiate 1-2, bam, you gone.
Okay. They're also changing Supernova, increasing the damage of successive hits from 20% to 30%, so that's more damage on a roll, essentially.
I like that change.
I like it as well, but that Radiance change, man.
Yeah, I want to see where that places her, but I don't think it's going to be in a particularly great place right now.
Yeah, like you said, I still don't think it competes with Freya. Although, if you ban out Freya, she could be a decent pickup. But
I would say Kronos would be even better.
Kronos, yeah, with the changes from the last patch. Yeah, Kronos still... I like Kronos. He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
And you'll be seeing a lot more of him just because of this new skin.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Sephiroth! Sorry.
That's Thanatos.
Huh? Oh, that was Thanatos, wasn't it? Why did I say Kronos?
Because he has a Dark Lord Kronos skin.
Oh, and he's got 2 wings. Because
of
the wings on the back of him. Yeah, ignore me. I'm not talking about Kronos. I'm talking about
Let's just move on to Terra.
Yeah, let's carry on.
Okay, Monolith is going to be changed for Terra. Monolith now deals 70, skinning up to 200, plus 50% of your magical power. Immediately when broken by force of nature, reduces damage per tick 15 to 35 is now going down to 10 to 18. Overall, Monolith now deals 20 more base damage in all ranks. Fixed an issue where Monolith could be damaged by minions or jungle monsters.
I did not know it could be attacked by minions and jungle monsters, I'll be honest.
Again, doesn't really change much about Terra.
No. I haven't seen Terra in a game for a while. Which is a shame.
We saw it in the SPL yesterday.
Which match was that in?
Valence v Cyclone.
Ah, the match I missed. Yeah, I missed that one. I didn't get a chance to see that one.
You missed the match, didn't you?
It was an awkward time. I'll watch them later today. After we've done recording this, I'll go watch it because I do want to watch some of the matches because some of the matches yesterday were really good. The ones I did get to see. So.
It's fine. So, final change, and this is where I'm legitimately angry, is Thoth.
They didn't listen. They kind of listened, but they didn't listen.
Thoth. Everybody knows why he was considered an extremely strong character, and that's because the stun on Evade and Punish. What they've done is they've not gotten rid of it, instead they've limited it to be only stunning one god.
Not good enough.
That is it. That is the only change they've done to Thoth.
They need to remove the stun. Everyone agrees. Just remove the stun. Because that stun is obnoxious. It's like... I don't...
Like, the ability...
Do you remember Zeus?
Yes.
Do you remember when Zeus had a stun?
Yep.
Do you remember when they removed that stun because it was bullshit?
Yep.
Yeah. Thoth is the new Zeus. They just refuse to admit that the stun is too much. There's a reason Zeus doesn't have a stun anymore, because it was too much. Thoth does more damage than Zeus, and they've kept the stun.
My question is, why is the ability called Evade and Punish if the punishment is death?
It's not really, it's just evading death.
It's Evade and Kill.
Yeah.
Or, you know what, change the ability name to Evade and Eviscerate.
Just call it Eviscerate.
You might as well.
Just call it Dash and Murder.
Dash and Murder. That is pretty much it.
Because then yelling damn is kind of accurate because you've just called out the acronym to the game, to the ability.
Okay, not gonna lie, I'm impressed with that one.
Yeah.
I am impressed with your pun game for once.
I know, right? I'm very hit and miss with my puns, unlike Thoth, who always hits that damn stun. But, I can do some of them.
Okay, but the changes there were multiple changes that they could have done. If they wanted to keep the stun, limiting it to one, lower the damage of the stun,
lower the damage in general for Thoth.
Lower the damage coming out from his one, or reduce the speed of its firing because it fires too quickly. Cooldown increases on Evade and Punish. There's just so much they can do, but they've done something wrong here, and they're not going to admit that they did something wrong.
No. It's annoying, isn't it? Because in general, Thoth is a really good god.
Yeah.
And I think even people who play him are like, this is dirty, what I can do to people.
Oh no, I know that. In a 35-minute game of Conquest, I did 52,000 damage because I kept dashing in aggressively, stunning 2 people, and murdering their lives.
That's Thoth. I think Thoth is one of the few gods that can consistently break 40k damage.
And the best part is, we have people on Twitter saying that this is now putting him into a balanced state.
No, Twitter. It's almost as bad as a Smite subreddit. Come on, none of these guys know balance. But no, I'm.
It's a step in the right direction, but it's a small step into a canyon.
Yeah, like I don't. It's a good start. Now carry on. Similar to other gods in this, it's a good start. Now carry on. Come on, keep going. Go a bit further.
You've just got out of the blocks. Finished 100-meter dash before you start celebrating.
Yeah, you just got out of it. Come on, finish it, Hi-Rez. Yeah, those are the patches. Those are the patch changes. Some of them really good, like the Ratataska changes. Some of them a little bit questionable, like the step changes. Why give them?
And some of them just downright stupid, like the Thoth changes.
I swear, it's like they don't know what they're doing with some gods. They don't know what to do. But
maybe
I honestly think the more we look at what's being changed and what's being put in, the more I come to realize that I'm pretty sure that people who worked on closed beta, open beta, season 1, season 2 of Smite are no longer working there. Because we're seeing things that were removed from right at the end of season 2 that are being put back in this season. A god with high burst damage having a stun got removed ages ago and it's put back in. Attack speed on a crit item which got removed ages ago is being put back in, and I'm not liking this because these are lessons we learned ages ago and they're still trying to put them back in, even though they admitted a couple years back that these things don't work. So I don't know how long Ajax has worked there for a start.
He's worked there for a couple of years now. He was mostly on, I think it was the design team, and then he moved on to the
balance team.
Yeah. I'll have to look it up if I can. But I know he was there. I know he's been there for a lot longer than people think he's been.
Okay, so he's been there a while. So I don't know. He's probably seen this stuff, and he should know. I feel, but I don't know. Ajax is just the front of it as well. We don't know everyone who works behind the scenes.
Yeah,
and that's the thing in that.
Like, don't witch hunt Ajax.
No. I'm not. I mean, yeah. Some of these suggestions are probably his. But
some of them are, but
not
they still
all
have
of
to go
these.
through the entire balance team.
They do, yes. So don't do what some people have done and start messaging Ajax that he's personally ruining the game. He's doing what he thinks is right, and his team is doing what they think are right, and they're merging all their stuff and coming up with what they think is right. So, but
it's not one man; it's an entire team.
It is like this podcast. It's me and AJ.
Right, moving on to the Week 3 SPL predictions. Similar to last week, we'll have those out on Twitter later on. Instead of last week where we had 2 matches we were undecided on, we have 4 this week. We're only going to go over 2 of them like last time. The 2 we're going to go over that we disagree on are Flashpoint versus Noble and Saw versus Enemy. First up, Flashpoint versus Noble. I see this one going Noble's way, and you see this one going as a split.
I see it going as a split.
I'm not going to lie, it does seem like these two are probably going to finish at the bottom of the North American SPL. But I believe that MLC Stealth is the standout player on both of these teams.
Oh yeah, MLC is.
And I personally believe that he, by himself, will be able to win both these games.
Okay. That's understandable. I mean, MLC Stealth is a really good player. He's been around for a while. He's a very good mid player in general. He's a nice guy too, so that's always good to see. But see, I like MLC Stealth, and I think Elchapu's doing quite well in the jungle. But I personally I'm kind of torn. I think in mid lane, I'm pretty sure I'm with you. I think MLC Stealth is going to win because you've been seeing some less than stellar plays from Incon in mid. And there are some cases where you can defend it. Like, what was it, where he missed 2 attacks on a Ratatasker in one of the previous games this week. But we can defend that because he used his ult, the Ratatasker dodged it. And then he came through the portal and he had a split second to make his attack. And he just put it so that Ratatasker's in the middle of the unstable vortex. And that's just unfortunate. But when you're in that situation, you've got to make a quick call. And it was just off the mark. But I don't think he's playing as well as we've seen him play before.
Yeah.
And like you said, in the case of him versus MLC, I think he's not gonna have as easy a time as he has in previous ones. But I think Aquarius has been playing quite well in solo, and Xenotronics has been playing relatively well as a hunter. And I think in the Wowie versus Xenotronics fight, I think Xenotronics is probably going to pull it.
I think it's incredibly even, that matchup, but I believe in Wowie.
Okay. And I also like Shadowkey, but that's just Shadowkey.
No, Shadowkey's
Wobbin's a good support as well, but I think where it comes down to it, I think if I had to choose it going slightly in one team's favour, I would choose Noble. But I think in general, I think the teams are relatively even. So I don't want to properly choose who I think is going to win.
Fair enough. That's
and
that's pretty much what you're doing here. So that's the prediction for Flashpoint versus Noble. Soul versus Enemy, and instead of us having one person going for a split and the other person going for a definitive answer, we've just gone the exact opposite ends here.
Yeah, man.
I believe Saw are going to win. Darkkai believes Enemy.
I believe Enemy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go through this. So let's start with the Hunter matchup. Panda Cat versus Bisham in the ADC position. I honestly think Bisham is 1,000 times better.
I agree with you on that one. I think Bisham is he's a world class ADC in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's a really good ADC. But I think when it comes in, if we combine the duo lane into one entity, which I know doesn't happen very much in this split or in this season, I think that Pain D Beyond is in a whole other world to Jigs.
Pain is definitely one of the premier support players out there in North America, in fact, even in the world. You have a look at who's on the support for the sports or the starting rosters in the North American SPL, and Pain, Jeff Hindler, and Aurora are definitely as the top three.
Oh yeah, those three are some. They're scary good. Those three players, and they've got those minds. Like I think when it comes down to tactics, Pain has an amazing mind for tactics and strategies. He knows what he wants to do. He knows what his team wants, what he wants his team to do, and he's very good at getting that across to his players. And
I think that Pain really does have like a very similar playstyle to Jeff. In terms of the way he goes out and about the game and is that leader, that voice for the team.
Yeah.
The difference between him and Jeff, though, is the fact that Jeff has had the same ADC since 3 years ago. And he hasn't looked back. But Pain hasn't found that consistent ADC yet.
No.
He's been with Panda Cat last split and is now going to stick with Panda Cat this split. So this could be the beginning of a similar Hunter support relationship.
It's a beautiful relationship. The Hunter and his support.
So I can see it being a good matchup with Pain to be on there, but the ADCs is just Bishop all the way to me.
Okay.
Mid lane, Chaos D and Insta.
Yeah.
This is where I believe Enemy have their strongest foothold in the game.
Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, Andinster is a good player, but he's only recently made his move into mid, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So I think Chaos kind of has it in this. He's got his grounding. He knows his matchups. I'm not going to deny. I'm pretty sure. I think Andinster has his knowledge of the matchups, but I think Chaos has that practice, and I think that's what's going to swing it in the mid lane. So.
I mean, they've only played one set so far at the time of recording. When this comes out, I believe they'll be just about starting up their second. They'll be starting up their second set.
I think so. Yeah. So both teams so far have only had one match, one set. Saw got 0-2 in that. They got 2-0'd, but Enemy 2-0'd their opponent, and that has partly coloured why I'm going for Enemy in this. Because Enemy have that status at the moment, don't they? They've won their match. Who did they play? They played against Noble. And who was it that Saw played against? I'm trying to find. Oh, Saw went up against Eager. Okay, so Saw went up against a pretty strong opponent. Enemy didn't go as. I don't want to sound insulting to Noble. But they I think if Enemy had a stronger opponent, they would have had a slightly bigger issue. Like if they're up against LG, which I'm looking forward to that. Actually, I'm looking forward to seeing Enemy versus LG. That's going to be a good match, I think. But But I think based on those, I mean, after today's matches, I think that's probably going to affect how I go. So Ego versus Enemy. So Enemy are playing Who Beat Saw, and Saw are playing against LG. So I think based on those matches, we'll decide whether I change my mind. But at this point in time, I still think Enemy have the slightly stronger position.
All right. Let's just move on from the predictions. Again, they're going to come out on Twitter later. Down onto the FaceIt drama as our final talking point of the week.
Do you want to take us through them?
Okay, so FaceIt, as you all are well aware, are the tournament organizers of the Combine, the tier below the Challenger Circuit, which is an open invite, open bracket to accumulate points over the course of a few weeks to then relegate with the bottom 2 Challenger Cup teams. Pretty standard stuff. There has been some drama with them recently. There has been past drama with them as well, which we probably won't have time to get into on this show. But the main drama from last week was that last night there was the EU Combine. And the tournament started off, everybody was happy for it to go ahead and play away. 30 minutes into the tournament, i.e. when players were just about finishing up their first game, they found out that the brackets were wrong. FaceIt found out the brackets were wrong, the seeding was fucked up. And they tried to look for internal issues, internal ways to fix it without really stopping the tournament or causing it to be reset. 3 hours after the tournament starts, they then have to reset the bracket. And eventually, after barely any communication with the playbase at all, the tournament gets cancelled altogether.
That's not good, is it? Really?
No.
If you know fairly early on that something's wrong, surely you pause stuff. Like, don't fully outright cancel it, because you can still probably come up with something. But actually letting it go for that long, it just seems unprofessional. That's my opinion, you know.
Yeah. There needs to have been more communication between FaceIt themselves and the player base, because everybody on Twitter was going off like, why is the bracket stopped, or why has this been cancelled? There wasn't anything coming from FaceIt themselves. It was mostly contact of most of the people who were going wrong are trying to find... Well, sorry, if I could recollect my thoughts. Yeah. So the main point of contact for the players and FaceIt wasn't FaceIt themselves, it was an employee of theirs in Chaostic. There we go.
Yeah, Chaostic used to be Hi-Rez, didn't he? So
yeah, so it wasn't really the official point of contact, but it was close enough.
Yeah.
And for that, and the fact that they didn't have a way in, there needs to have been more communication.
Yeah, a lot more. I think was it Snakeskin? Snakeskin was on Twitter complaining about how the entire situation went, and apparently, excuse me, him and I think a couple others messaged the admins. They tried to message a ton of admins, and they could only get through to Chaostic. Chaostic was the only one that replied. So he was the front of it, wasn't he? And he's been getting a bit of stick for it, especially on the Smite subreddit. I mean, he's been doing his job trying to defend it, but I don't know. It's not a good situation in general, but I think they tried to make the best of a bad situation, and it just didn't work out. It didn't work out at all. But like I said, in my opinion, the moment something like that comes up, you send a message out to all the players saying, we spotted this is wrong, we're working on figuring it out. If you could hold up for a little bit while we just try and come up with a solution, and then we'll get back to you as soon as we can. I think that you get more respect for, rather than having everyone play all the games, or having a load of people play some games, and then go, oh, by the way, we're restarting everything. And then the people that played their matches, of course they're not going to be happy about it.
No.
Of course they're gonna be pissed because they're like, oh, so we just played all these matches for nothing, you know? So, but yeah, that's
wouldn't happen with EGL.
It wouldn't. Oh, I wish EGL. We need to sort out EGL. EGL needs to get sorted again.
Yeah,
but they are still doing tournaments, aren't they? EGL.
Yeah, they're still doing weekly Wednesday tournaments.
It's just difficult to get casting going for it at the moment.
Yeah, there's just no production for it.
The big issue here, for those of you that are wanting to get into casting in any way, shape, or form, there's a kind of a side to casting, especially for casting for organizations. Like I guess we could say professional casting, really, can't you?
Yeah.
There's a side to it that a lot of people don't realize exists, and that's production. So they're the ones that make sure that the overlays are all displaying correctly. They're the ones that make sure that when you've got a custom God Select screen, they're the ones that put it up. They're the ones that make sure that everything is going correctly. It's slightly different for Hi-Rez and normal production because Hi-Rez have production going and the casters will react to where production goes. Whereas in our sort of casting, it's more the production will follow where the casters go. It's a bit of a jump, but... But a lot of people who want to go into casting don't want to be production, which means there's a ton of casting personalities, but there are very few production members. And AJ and I have both been on production side and casting side. And we can do both, but I think both of us agree that we prefer to do the actual casting.
Yeah.
And I think a fair few people who have viewed our casts agree that they want to hear our casting, right? I'm probably blowing my own trumpet here. But...
No, if you're simply just focused on casting, then you have a better performance. But if you're also worrying about if your camera angle looks good, if the UI in your camera looks good, if the audio's working, if this, that, and the other's working, then you get this other mindset which can detract from the cast as well.
It's difficult to cast when you're trying to cast and make sure that you're doing the camera work properly. Yeah. So having someone in the back... So, like, something that we tried to do when we were on production is we wouldn't be casting that week. But the difficulty we're having in EGL at the moment is we've got 3 or 4 casters, but no production. And the person we usually have in production has PCs in pieces. So it's kind of difficult to get that spot. So if you do want to get into casting, but you don't think that, I don't know, you don't think you've got the voice for it and you still want to get into that sort of thing, production is a very good way to go. And you will get a lot of respect from the casters and the actual organizations because finding production is remarkably difficult. So I know I've jumped off from FaceIt here and I've gone talking about general casting, but don't let... If you really want to get into that sort of thing, don't put production as I'm never going to do it, because some people are actually really good at production. So, like Zioden, who now works for Hi-Rez, he's a good caster, but his production is amazing. He's really good at camera work. So, does he work for Hi-Rez now still?
Pecky's, yeah.
Is that who Pecky's is? Pecky's is Zioden?
No. Sorry, Pecky's was also another person who did that sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Zioden, I believe he still works for Hi-Rez.
You don't hear about production anymore, do you?
No.
You just know there are certain people who work in production. You just never hear anything from them.
But Zioden was one of the people who went from EGL to Hi-Rez along with Hindu.
It's kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
EGL, European Gaming League, and he's American.
Yeah. That's then be the breaks.
Then be the breaks, but
I believe that's the show.
That is, yeah. So I think we've got a relatively short show this week, but that's probably because there's not a ton that's happened. We've got a couple things coming out in the patch, but in terms of big changes, there's nothing huge. So we're going to give you a short one this week. Actually, there's one thing that we haven't mentioned, and it's something that people may want to pay attention to in the 4.3 patch, and that is the new anti-cheat system that's coming out. If you are using unsigned third-party drivers on your mouse or keyboard or whatever, be careful. It's a bit of a dodgy situation. There are plenty of comments on the Smite subreddit. Go check it out. They are discussing the easy anti-cheat which is coming in. But I don't think there's much I can say. I've not actually personally encountered it. But I just say that I personally don't like things like that because it affects those of us who play over those that want to cheat. So bear that in mind. Be careful with what's coming in. Don't have anything stupid running in the background. Just be careful when the patch comes. But otherwise, other than that, I think that's us done. So thank you all for listening to the Pantheon Podcast. If you do want to suggest things to us or want to know what want us to ask you questions and stuff, go follow the Pantheon Podcast Twitter at Pantheon Podcast. We will be retweeting a load of stuff for it as well, so go check it out. Yeah, my name's been Darkkai3. You can follow me at Darkkai3 on Twitter and Darkkai3 on Twitch. I've been the host as per usual. With me has been AlphaJackal, the production extraordinaire, but we don't need production anymore really. And you can check him out on Twitter at AlphaJackal and on Twitch at AlphaJackal1. Go check him out. He doesn't just do Smite. Neither of us just do Smite, but we do a lot of Smite. And that'll be us. So it's goodbye from me, Darkkai3. Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me, AlphaJackal. See you later.